Welcome to the deep dive. We grab a stack of sources, plunge right in, and pull out the most important knowledge and insights, really just for you.
Yeah, and today we're tackling something huge. It touches, well, pretty much everything in your life.
Mm.
The philosophy of technology.
It really does, and we've got quite the collection here. We're looking at, ancient thinkers, Plato, Confucius, right alongside modern philosophers, people like Heidegger, Marcel, Marx.
And we're also looking at contemporary stuff, too, grappling with things like AI, biotech, the really big changes happening right now.
So our mission, really, in this deep dive is to unpack all these ideas, find the core insights, the stuff you really need to know. We want to help you get a clearer handle on the big debates. What is technology? What's it doing to us?
And how should we even think about it? Because, I mean, it's complicated. The sources make that really clear.
Yeah, it's not simple at all. On one hand, it's this amazing blessing, right? It makes life so much better in countless ways.
But then there's the other side, the potential for, well, tragedy, for destruction. It's got this real duality.
Holding both those ideas at once seems key here.
Absolutely. And the sources throw out some really sharp questions to guide us, things you probably grapple with yourself, like, is tech just a neutral tool? Does it depend entirely on how we use it?
Or does it come preloaded with certain values? And are we in control? Or is technology maybe starting to control us a bit?
And how does it shape how we see ourselves, our identity, or even just how we know things, how we understand reality?
Yeah, and what about all the new stuff? AI, biotech, is that just more of the same, or is it like fundamentally changing what it means to be human?
Question.
Yeah.
And has technology itself become the goal, something we chase for its own sake, rather than just a way to get things done?
And finally, how's it reshaping society? The structure, the power dynamics, quietly, or maybe not so quietly?
These are massive questions, but they connect directly to, your phone, your job, how you interact with people. So let's dive in.
Okay, let's start with that first one. Value neutrality. Is technology just neutral? It kind of feels like the default view, doesn't it? Like, hammer's just a hammer.
Exactly. That's what the sources call instrumental neutrality. The tool itself, inert, benign. Its impact is all about human choice, how you decide to use it.
Makes intuitive sense, and you see echoes of it way back, like Confucius saying you need good tools for a good job. The emphasis is on the user, the intention.
Right. And it was huge in Enlightenment thinking. Descartes wanting to use science and tech to be masters and possessors of nature, but specifically for human good, health, knowledge, making life better. Tech was the servant.
But the sources really push back on that, don't they? This idea that tech isn't neutral, that it's value-laden.
Oh, absolutely. And Martin Heidegger is, well, he's central here. He basically says that neutral tool idea is way too simple. It misses the essence.
Okay, so what's he saying?
He argues that the way a technology is designed, the kind of actions it encourages or makes easy, that already embeds certain values. It's not passive.
Ah, so it's not just what you do, but how the tech itself sort of channels you, prioritizes things.
Precisely. Think about a social media feed's algorithm. It's not neutral, right? It's designed to maximize your engagement.
Keep you scrolling, yeah.
That design choice is a value judgment. Engagement over, say, depth, or maybe accuracy. Or, take nuclear tech, its mere existence carries huge political, ethical weight. It's not neutral, whatever you intend to do with it.
That reminds me of Langdon Winter's point about artifacts having politics. The low bridges example.
Exactly. Those bridges weren't just structures. Their design enforced a social outcome, a value. It's a stark example.
And Heidegger goes even deeper, saying our belief in neutrality is part of the problem.
Yeah, it's a bit mind-bending. He suggests that if we just assume tech is neutral, that shows how much its underlying values, efficiency, calculation, control, have already shaped our way of thinking.
So by seeing it as neutral, we're already seeing it through a technological lens.
Kind of, yeah. He'd say the instrumental view is correct in that tech is useful, but it's misleading because it hides this deeper reconfiguration. Tech doesn't just slot into our existing values, it actually changes the whole value landscape.
Okay, let's make that really concrete. Like a gun, sure, self-defense, but it's designed for lethal force. Does that design carry a value, a bias towards violence? Is neutrality even plausible?
That's the kind of hard question these philosophers force you to ask. Or algorithms, again, are they just reflecting data? Or are they actively shaping outcomes based on the creator's goals, their biases, the profit motive?
It's complex. Human choice matters, obviously.
Yeah.
But the tech isn't a blank slate.
Not at all. It comes from somewhere, it's designed for something, and it nudges us. It pushes certain ways of being, so values are baked in right from the start.
Okay, so if tech isn't neutral, if it has these embedded values, that leads directly to the next big question. Who's in charge? Do we control technology, or is it maybe starting to control us?
The classic tension. Human agency versus, well, technological determinism.
The agency side says, look, obviously we're in control. We invent it. We use it for our goals. We can regulate it.
Right. That's the common sense view, often linked to instrumentalism.
Yeah.
We can make ethical AI. We can choose to log off. Power to the people, basically.
But the other side, the determinist view, argues that once tech is out there, it kind of takes over. Drives change in ways we can't easily resist.
Exactly. Marshall McLuhan nailed it. We shape our tools, and thereafter they shape us.
The car is the perfect example, isn't it? We built it for transport, but then,
Yep.
boom, suburbs, highways, lifestyles built around it. It became almost impossible not to be car dependent in many places.
Totally reshaped things. Or think of Marx's famous line, the hand mill gives you society with the feudal lord. The steam mill gives you society with the industrial capitalist. He saw technology as fundamentally rewriting the rules of society, the power structures.
So, which is it? Are we puppets or masters?
Well, most thinkers today, and the sources reflect this, see it more as a feedback loop, a co-construction, meaning technology and society shape each other continuously. We create tech based on our needs and values, right?
Right.
But then that tech reorganizes how we live, work, think, which then creates new needs and values, which drives the next wave of technology.
Like social media again, we built it to connect, but then it changed how we connect, what friendship looks like, politics, attention spans, stuff we didn't fully anticipate.
Exactly. The initial goal mutated. Human choices drive it, yes, but those choices happen within a world already shaped by past tech. Remember the bicycle example. Social factors determined the winner of the safety bike.
Right.
But once that design dominated, it reshaped possibilities for everyone.
Yeah.
So yes, we steer it initially, but then it develops its own momentum, its own influence back on us.
And Heidegger throws in that curveball about the illusion of control.
Right. He says we think we're controlling it, using it as a tool. But the danger is that our whole way of thinking becomes technical. We start seeing everything, including ourselves, as resources to be managed, optimized, controlled.
So trying to control tech using technical thinking just digs us deeper.
That's his warning. It reinforces the very system that's subtly shaping us. It's like feeling addicted to your phone. You can technically put it down.
But everything pulls you back in. The design, the notifications, social pressure, work.
Precisely. The smartphone is a great case. We chose to design these engaging things. Now billions feel they literally cannot live without them. It shapes norms, expectations, even maybe our brains. It exerts this soft control. It really makes you ask, who's actually driving?
Okay, let's stick with Heidegger for a moment. This idea of technology not just as tools, but as a way of knowing, a way reality gets revealed to us. That's a big shift in thinking.
It really is. He argued the true essence of modern technology isn't the hardware, the machines. It's something he called Gestell, often translated as enframing.
Enframing, like putting a frame around reality.
Sort of. It's more like a fundamental orientation, a framework that determines how things show up for us in the first place. For Heidegger, technology is a mode of aletheia, of revealing truth, but it's a very particular and potentially narrow mode.
So it changes how we fundamentally perceive the world, not just what we do in it.
Exactly. And under this technological enframing, he says, everything, nature, objects, even other people, starts to appear primarily as standing reserve.
Standing reserve, like resources on standby.
Pretty much. Stockpiles of potential utility, things waiting to be ordered, optimized, calculated, put to use. A forest becomes timber waiting to be cut. A river becomes potential kilowatt hours.
And people become human resources.
Chillingly, yes. The world turns into this vast inventory, which is a profoundly different way of encountering things than, say, through art or religion or just quiet contemplation, where things might have intrinsic value or mystery.
And the danger for Heidegger is that this enframing becomes the only way we see. It crowds everything else out.
That's the core danger. We risk forgetting other ways of being, other ways truth can be revealed. We risk what he called the forgetting of being, losing touch with wonder, with mystery, with meaning beyond utility. It echoes Gabriel Marcel's concerns, too, about mystery versus problems.
But he wasn't saying, like, smash the machines.
No. He wasn't a Luddite. He acknowledged tech's necessity and usefulness. His goal was awareness. If we understand enframing, we can achieve a free relationship to technology. We can see it as one mode of revealing, not the only one.
So put it in its place.
Exactly. Recognize its limits. Experience the technological within its own bounds, as he put it. Make space for art, for philosophy, for tradition, ways of knowing that technological thinking tends to eclipse. It's about perspective.
It links back to the old Greek idea of techne skillful making, craft. Modern tech is like a global version of that, but one that sees the whole world as raw material.
Right. And Heidegger's challenge is, realize that's the lens you're using. Be aware of how it shapes your perception, because how you know the world profoundly affects how you value it and act within it. Epistemology and ethics get tangled up.
Speaking of how technology shapes us, Gabriel Marcel, his idea of technology leading to the annihilation of self, that sounds pretty drastic.
It does. It's strong warning from an existentialist perspective. Marcel worried that our modern, tech-saturated world reduces everything to a problem needing a technical fix.
And in doing so, it pushes out what he called mystery.
Precisely. The deep, irreducible aspects of existence, love, faith, suffering, being itself. When everything's a problem to be solved, life becomes instrumentalized. People become functions, objects, data points.
Not unique subjects.
Exactly. And that, for Marcel, is the path to the annihilation of self. A hollowing out of our inner life, our unique subjectivity, our agency. We become defined by our function, our productivity, our quantifiable outputs.
He had that term homo technicus, the mere technical man.
Yes, the person who lives entirely by the logic of efficiency, optimization, problem solving. When society values those things above all else, qualities like empathy, creativity, contemplation get sidelined. Technology grabs the spotlight, promising mastery.
But leaves the inner self empty.
That was his fear. And that really disturbing phrase about people potentially rejoicing in their own annihilation.
Yeah, what does he mean by that?
It's the idea that people might actually prefer a shallow, managed, predictable existence consumerism. Gadgets being the smooth cog in the machine over the difficult, uncertain work of authentic selfhood. They might trade depth for comfort and predictability and call it progress.
Wow, that feels uncomfortably familiar sometimes. The pressure to perform, to quantify, feeling like a number.
Absolutely. Marcel saw this leading to alienation, a loss of uniqueness. Relationships become transactional. He believed things like love, hope, fidelity require seeing others as irreplaceable subjects, which the technical worldview struggles with.
So what's the antidote? How do we resist this annihilation?
Well, Marcel wasn't anti-tech per se. He saw the good it could do, but he called for constant vigilance. He saw philosophers as watchmen, guarding against reducing people to objects or functions.
And personally.
It's about actively cultivating the inner life, re-engaging with mystery through art, faith, deep relationships, reflection, making space for things that can't be measured or optimized, protecting our capacity for wonder.
So asserting our humanity, basically. Making sure tech serves us, serves our growth as full person.
Exactly. Technology should enable human flourishing, not define it. It shouldn't become the dominant culture, eclipsing our ability to be, well, human.
Okay, let's zoom out again. From the self to society. How does technology shape the whole social structure? This brings in social constructivism and, of course, Karl Marx.
Right. Social constructivism, which we touched on, really emphasizes that technology doesn't just happen to society. It's actively shaped by society.
It rejects that hard determinism.
Yeah, it pushes back against the idea that tech is this independent force driving everything. It highlights human choices, values, social groups, cultural contexts. They all influence which technologies get developed, how they're designed, and how they're used, or maybe even rejected.
It's that co-construction idea again, the feedback loop.
Exactly. Tech and society are constantly influencing each other. Think about the internet's evolution driven by military, then academic, then commercial, then social needs. Each phase reshaping society, which in turn demanded new tech features. It's a dance.
And the bicycle example show how social values, safety, accessibility help determine which design won out, not just pure engineering.
Precisely. It wasn't technically inevitable. Social factors were crucial. It shows tech is a human project, shaped by human meanings and struggles.
Thinkers like Dewey saw tech embedded in culture, and even Marx, though often planted as a determinist.
Well, he definitely saw technology, the forces of production, as the primary driver of historical change, determining the economic base and the relations of production, meaning the class structure.
That hand mill, steam mill quote again, tech determines the social order.
That was his core argument. New tech, like the steam engine, made feudalism obsolete and capitalism necessary. It created new classes, capitalists and workers. For Marx, tech was the engine of history, creating contradictions that led to social revolution.
But he also saw the dark side under capitalism, right? Alienation.
Absolutely. Factory machines made work dehumanizing, repetitive. Workers lost control, became mere appendages. But crucially, Marx blamed capitalism's use of tech, not the tech itself. He believed under a different system, like communism, advanced tech could actually liberate people from drudgery.
Free them up for other things.
Yeah, shorten the workday, allow for creativity, self-development, align tech with human fulfillment, not just profit.
How does that lens apply today with AI and automation?
You can see clear parallels. AI is like the new steam mill, right? It's disrupting industries, potentially creating massive inequality between AI owners and displaced workers. A Marxist analysis would predict growing tension, maybe calls for radical restructuring, things like UBI, or questioning who owns the AI.
And platforms creating the gig economy, new relations of production based on data.
For sure. Neo-Marxists and critical theorists analyze how tech serves power, like surveillance capitalism exploiting data. Marx forces us to ask, who benefits? Who loses? How is power shifting?
So while social constructivists emphasize choice, Marx highlights the powerful economic forces that often drive those choices.
It's a tension. Marx saw historical forces at play, shaped by tech and economics. Constructivists focus more on the specific choices made by groups at key moments. A balanced view might say tech enables certain structures, and those structures then push tech development in self-reinforcing ways.
The key takeaway from Marx, then, is always look at the big picture, the economic structure, the power dynamics.
Exactly. Technology never exists in a vacuum. It's deeply tied to who has power, how wealth is distributed, how society is organized. We need to analyze that impact, especially now, to ensure new tech leads to broad upliftment, not just new forms of inequality or alienation.
This has been a really rich journey through so many different philosophical takes on technology.
It really has. And you see some common threads emerge, things the sources really emphasize in conclusion. First, technology is never just a neutral tool. It's always tangled up with values, contexts, power. It demands our critical attention.
And that tension between our agency and tech's momentum, it's ongoing. We create it, yes, but it shapes us back. Keeping ethical, democratic control is a constant struggle, not a solved problem. It's like Marcel's idea of the vigilant watchman.
Right. And we had to balance the benefits and risks. Tech extends our abilities enormously. It's a means for incredible good, but it also brings risks, alienation, inequality, even existential dangers. We need to care for the human spirit, like Heidegger and Marcel urged, and for social justice, like Marx highlighted.
And the ultimate goal, the guiding star, has to be human flourishing, right? Using tech to enhance real human capabilities, health, knowledge, freedom, connection, as thinkers like Nussbaum argue, judging tech by whether it helps people live better, fuller lives.
Absolutely. In a world innovating at warp speed, these philosophical questions aren't luxuries. They're essential. We need ongoing dialogue involving everyone, not just tech experts. And remembering the constructivist point, we do collectively shape technology. Our choices matter. We can steer it towards the common good.
So this deep dive isn't about giving you all the final answers.
No, definitely not. It's about equipping you with the right questions. How do we keep tech serving humanity? What are our responsibilities? How do we ensure progress isn't just technical, but truly human?
Thank you for joining us on this exploration. We really hope these ideas give you some useful lenses for looking at the technology that surrounds you every day.
And maybe the next time you use some new gadget or app, pause for a second. Ask yourself, what values are embedded here? How might this be subtly changing me or what I care about?
And think about how you, just as one person, can be part of ensuring technology serves our deepest human needs and aspirations, not just efficiency or novelty for its own sake.
It's a conversation we all need to be part of. We'll see you on the next deep dive.